The women of San Antonio have finally had a chance to get revenge on Charles Barkley after a 15-year tour of Charles Barkley talking about how fat and ugly they are. Charles Barkley went on the Pop the Red Balloon game show. It's a YouTube show that's made its way to Netflix where you have women holding red balloons. They bring up a male suitor, and if you're not into the man, you pop the balloon. They ask questions, and as you go along, more and more people pop the balloon until you find your one fit. Well, as soon as Charles Barkley stepped up to the women of San Antonio, they all popped their balloon all in one shot.
Well,
Wow.
that was rude.
Give us your name.
I'm Charles Wade Barkley.
Now, if you're not familiar with the beef between the two, this is a battle that began way back in 2010. 15 years deep. Literally, that is Charles Barkley's entire NBA career. Chuck Wagon entered the league in 1984. He got his last rebound in the year 2000. He got out of the league right before Tim Duncan came to San Antonio and kicked off the Spurs dynasty. But off the court, the city was still not safe from the round mound of rebounds. So this is May 2010. Charles Barkley remarked, "They ain't got no skinny women down there," when talking about San Antonio. Then in June 2013, he said, quote, "big ol' women down in San Antonio." Fast forward to February 2014, he said, quote, "Victoria is a secret down in San Antonio." May 2014, he described San Antonio as a gold mine for Weight Watchers. And then most recently, April 2025, at the Capital One Jam Fest in San Antonio, Barkley addressed the crowd and said, "San Antonio, thank you. And yes, y'all got some big bitches here." There is quite literally a compilation video of 8 minutes of Charles Barkley just annihilating the women of San Antonio. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why Chuck decided to make this his vendetta. I don't know why he goes so hard on the River City, good old San Antone, home of the Alamo, I think, maybe. I don't know, that's what they used to call the arena back in the day at least. But I do know that he hates them. Maybe he went out on the road one day just trying to enjoy himself and he was just disgusted by every option he came across. But I'll tell you something, folks. Chuck Barkley, he ain't wrong. Statistically speaking, I did a little digging here. I asked ChatGPT. Here's what I found. According to a 2025 study of the top 100 most populated cities in the country, San Antonio, the 13th worst in health-related issues, 6th for a combined percentage of overweight and obese residents, 7th for health consequences related to weight, such as high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and diabetes. That's the Holy Trinity. I mean, who knew that Charles was a medical expert? I need more of this in my life. I want Chuck to tell me how unintelligent are the people of Orlando. What do you think about the men of Seattle? The testosterone, the men of Seattle. Chuck, please tell me how bad it smells in Cleveland or how drunk New Orleans is. Just a steady rotation of Charles Barkley roasting every city he's ever been into. And then he's got to go to those cities and face these women. That, my friends, make that the permanent thing for Pop the Red Balloon. Footage of Caitlin Clark's infamous 22 points in 2 minutes scrimmage went viral the other day after it was previously thought to be lost. If you're unfamiliar with this scrimmage, it's kind of like college basketball lore. A few years ago, when Caitlin was back at Iowa, she was playing against the boys in practice. It was the men's women's practice team. More on that in a second. And she goes unconscious. She hits 5 threes in 30 seconds. She puts up 22 points in 2 minutes, but it was a closed gym and they thought no one was filming. So it was kind of this infamous urban legend. Did it happen? Did it not happen? Is this just an urban legend? And this footage last year, right around this time, surfaced. And then just this week went re-viral again. Caitlin Clark went on with David Letterman to explain what happened in this practice. There's quotes that she changed the way she viewed herself as a player after going on that run. So it's kind of an important moment in the story of Caitlin Clark. And I don't care who you do it against. If you step on the court and hit the shots that she was hitting by yourself, I would be like, yo, you're making it rain. Literally, if you're just shooting around hitting those shots, I'd be like, holy shit, this person can hoop. So I don't care if it's against women, boys, little kids. You play against little girls, first grade, you hit those shots, you're fucking nasty. But there is this, there are these people raining on the parade of the footage here saying, and I don't blame them. It is being characterized as Caitlin Clark's playing against the men's practice team. She's playing against the women's practice team. These guys have nothing to do, I believe, with Iowa men's basketball. On the David Letterman show, she explains that these are students who don't play basketball. Now, they are good. They probably played D3. There probably were like stud, all-American college kids who just couldn't make it at the D1 level. So I'm not saying they're bad at basketball by any means. I'm just saying that it was kind of being characterized as like she was doing this against guys who play like on the Iowa men's basketball team, which is not the case. That's not the people taking that and using it against her, though, are still fucking assholes. Because like I said, I don't care if you're just shooting around. If you can make it rain from, half court like that, you can shoot the fucking lights out. So, of course, there are people trying to rain on her parade when I think it's perfectly fair to say that a bunch of super athletic college men, even if they're just regular people who aren't playing Division I at Iowa, are still good athletes and strong competition, and a girl cutting them up is a big deal. Maybe that's inherently misogynistic of me to admit that I think, college men who are all athletic enough to be involved in in college sports program, even in some little way as practice squad players, are going to be stronger, bigger, better, faster than women. So I think it's still impressive. So where am I? Am I a feminist? Am I an ally? Or am I a misogynist? Because I think this is impressive. Because the people trying to shut it down are what? It's funny because the people who are shutting it down are the first people to probably scream, men are stronger than women. So which is it? Yes, I understand she's not playing against actual Iowa men's basketball players. But what she did do is still impressive. And again, it doesn't matter who she's doing it against. When that girl shoots a basketball, it's impressive. China claps back, increasing U.S. tariffs to 84% after Donald Trump increased tariffs to China to 104%. I want to preface this by saying I'm no expert. I want to also preface this by saying I think that the last thing the world needs are more podcasters, male podcasters, talking about politics and in the political space. That being said, I don't think you can do this if America doesn't have the infrastructure to manufacture.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I think you need to spend the last couple of years incentivizing American factories, incentivizing American manufacture. And then when that's in place and this dream of yours can actually occur, then you can maybe impose these tariffs and force people to domestically manufacture and distribute. There's no way for these companies to do this. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in that? Do you need factories in America in order to manufacture and distribute domestically? Is that a prerequisite? I feel like it might be. I feel like it is. So, cool, man. Get rid of income tax. Make the whole rest of the world pay for all of our stuff. But the problem is when China claps back and they make all this shit, I think that's going to be a problem. You can have 104% tariffs on nothing. Doesn't matter. When you have 84% tariffs on everything made in China, all your tags, all your everything made in China, if that goes up 84%, no bueno. When China's like, oh no, we have to pay 104% tax on nothing, I don't think it affects them as much as 84% tax on everything. Just one man's opinion. And I'm a guy who's a straight arrow Gennaro right down the middle. I hate both these fucking people. I hate both sides. I hate dumb ideas in general. It's a pretty steadfast rule of mine. I don't like dumb stuff, particularly from the president. Don't know if it's left, right, don't know where this falls. I don't even think you can consider this a left or a right thing. The guy doing it right now is right, but it's because he's lost his goddamn mind. So the right has adopted this because they just roll with everything that Donald Trump does. Prior to this, no conservative would have ever said, I am in favor of 80 to 100% tariffs on the rest of the world. If Joe, and this is always my biggest problem, if Joe Biden came up with this, the right would be clowning this. The right would be saying this is stupid. So nothing is either right or left anymore because it's just whatever one man decides. And then everyone falls in line. I am now anti this and I am now pro this. So you can come up with the craziest fucking things in the world. He can come up with all sorts of new rules that have never aligned with anything politically. And you will have 50% of people adopt it and 50% of people hate it. And I think that's where we're at right now with these tariffs. Totally uncharted territory where, I don't think you can call this anything other than fucking crazy. And is he crazy like a fox? I don't know. Maybe it'll work out. Right now, it seems a little precarious. I will say this. If somehow this works out, you eventually got to tip your cap to this guy, even if you hate his guts. Like, if eventually somehow this crazy plan works out, you'd have to be like, all right, man, I didn't see it coming, but like, yeah, he just made the rest of the world pay for everything. But it's a long way to get there. And so I think it's a valid feeling to question this. And that's my real takeaway. I don't know enough about anything. I will just say this is a genuine take that I feel I can give. It is not crazy to question this. So don't act like it is. Don't act like you're some lefty, liberal, bleeding heart clown if you question this move. Because clearly, the short-term impact has been negative enough to question it. You might be wrong. Maybe in the long run, it turns out okay. And those people that have to say, hand up. But right now, to just say, like, I don't know if this is a good foreign policy, economic policy, I think that is completely valid. And if you're acting like it's not, you're being a little ridiculous. Come on. You cannot co-sign every single thing one person does, no matter how extreme it is, with blind faith, blind support, not even a single criticism or question, because then you lose credibility. You know, I see the people talking, I see who they are, I know exactly what their take's going to be before they say it, always. And even when it's something as extreme as this, something that nobody even discusses because it was, you know, unconscionable up until this point. And now all of a sudden you perfectly agree with it and fall in line. Absolutely. I mean, if that's not the sign of, you know, hive mind groupthink, I don't know what it is. Infamous MLB ball hawk Zach Hampel robbed Rays outfielder Christopher Morel of robbing a home run. At the game the other day, a ball that was hit to the wall, Christopher Morel jumps, puts his glove up, was right there to rob it, and Zach Hampel put his glove inside of the outfielder's glove, caught the ball, and pulled it over the fence. And I think I'm with everybody in the baseball world when I say resoundingly, fuck Zach Hampel. Zach Hampel, if you don't know him, is a ball hawk. It's his life's goal to go catch as many home run and foul balls as he possibly can. He does it at an impressive clip. Something that most people will never, ever do once in their life. He's done, I believe, like hundreds of times. He goes to every ballpark all across the country. He knows where to stand, where to sit. He knows exactly the scouting report, who pulls it, who goes opposite field, when a home run ball is going to be hit. I will tip my cap to him. It's fucking crazy how many balls he walks away with at a baseball stadium. In that regard, you know, everybody appreciates greatness, right? I think this shtick has run its course. There was a time about 10 years ago on the Barstool blog where we used to kind of, you know, blog about him, and he was kind of this weird, zany character in the sportsosphere where it's like there's all these, you know, super fans and mascots and things of the like. And Zach Hampel was known as this, you know, weirdo, ball-obsessed freak. And it was like kind of funny at times and kind of impressive at times. And now we're like 10 or 15 years later. This has to be, I don't know when he started, but at this point, he's for sure a grown-ass man who just spends his whole life running around a ballpark trying to grab a ball. And I don't want to be too much of a hater, but we're getting a little weird, Zach, you know? And when you do things like this, like, listen, you sit, if you want to just go to every baseball game, you sit firmly in the stands and you catch balls that are hit at you magically, I can't knock it. The minute you start putting you got to have a golden rule if you're going to be a professional ball hawk, and that's to never impact the field of play. You got to respect the game, right? That's something where a guy's got to be like, I respect baseball too much to fuck with anything that's going on in the field of play. So robbing a home run like that, and that was a true robbery. Christopher Morel, like his like the ball was going into his glove. That was not like I could have maybe caught it. It was like I was gonna catch it. And Zach Hampel just like what? So you have your like 486th ball. You're now impacting an actual game, fucking over the fans, fucking over the Rays. Like, at some point, we got to give up on this dream, buddy. And what even is the dream? Like, you have more balls than anybody by, like, a factor of 1,000. Most people have one. You have, like, hundreds. Enough. Grow up. Stop. Go get a girlfriend, boyfriend, somebody. Do something. Get a job. Enough, Zach.